Paramount is acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery. So what happens next? Put it this way, the movie and TV landscape will never be the same again. Paramount, a company with $10 billion in debt, who is now $79 billion in debt, has an appetite stronger than your mom after a prayer session with the yoga teacher. One aspect I wish was not part of this deal is Saudi Arabia money. Hollywood is getting one of the largest injections from foreign money in this historic deal through Saudi Arabia's giant sovereign wealth fund, along with partners from Qatar and Abu Dhabi, putting in about $24 billion as silent investors to avoid government approval problems, especially because of CNN and other news outlets they own. The Gulf funds agreed to very strict terms: no voting power, no board seats, and zero say in what movies, news, and TV shows are made. But let's get real. Money talks. And in my opinion, you're out of your mind if you don't think they will silently pressure the company to avoid tough stories on their humanitarian right violations, attacks on reporters, and more. Are you going to tell me next that sugar daddies are providers out of the pureness and goodness of their heart? I could see Hawk Tuah Girl or Logan Paul being gullible enough to believe this, but you're smarter than that. Let's skip over the regulatory and final steps such as shareholders voting next month, a process that could take up to a year. But mark my words, this will get approved. David Ellison is personally friends with Donald Trump and the Trump administration. And Trump has allies that has a vested interest in this deal. Group and committee leaders that could get in the way of this were appointed by Donald Trump himself. Nothing will get in the way. Say goodbye to HBO Max. HBO is getting taken out like Uncle Ben. HBO Max, my personal favorite streaming service, will merge with Paramount's platform. This would gain Paramount up to 200 million subscribers from 100 countries. This will certainly lead to a tiered platform, which is something nobody wants. You're going to hear some people celebrating about the consolidation of platforms since there are so many streaming services, but that's with the assumption that they're going to get the price of two for one. That will not be the case. The cost will be the same as two streaming services or more. Now, you will have access to cheaper base tier options, which will include the original Paramount library. And then you'll have the option of upgrading to higher tiers, which includes the HBO library. And of course, sub tiers under those based on ads and 4K resolution. They have said they plan on continuing licensing content, so the library won't be a comprehensive giant, but instead will be somewhat circulating. This means don't be surprised if for a few months, Batman the Animated Series, for example, is on Amazon Prime, but not Paramount Plus. Pay more for less. It's the new corporate way. Remember when I said Paramount has debt worse than Nicolas Cage did in the early 2000s? Well, their mistakes and proposed solutions is going to hurt a lot of people. They plan to cut more than $6 billion in cost efficiencies. This is going to happen through cutting a lot of jobs, which is projected to be in the thousands, consolidation of platforms, unification of real estate and selling properties, combining their marketing and advertising, using single business systems, and much more nuanced integrations. AI is coming. One thing many people don't know is that Hollywood was using AI many years before consumer-grade products were available to the public. The first prominent example is back in 2002, before many of you were even born. AI-driven or autonomous agents let thousands of digital soldiers/orcs fight realistically on their own, which eliminated hand animating each one. During early tests of Battle of the Helm's Deep, some orcs in the back rows actually turned around and ran away because the AI calculated their odds of survival were too low. And of course, the progress since then has been wild. The Russo brothers are perfect examples of directors that have been using AI for years. It was even present in Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. There has been a stated interest in expanding AI throughout the entire filmmaking process, but with the stated goal of not lowering the headcount. Let's see how long that will last considering their massive debt. On the creative front, Warner Brothers and Paramount are largely going to operate independently. They have a deep-seated interest in attaining talent and retaining it. They plan on releasing 30 films a year, roughly 15 with one studio and 15 with the other. That means they don't plan on merging the companies and lowering the totals, which is one of the few saving graces in all of this. They also plan to uphold the 45-day theatrical window. And interestingly enough, they plan on expanding their global local production, which is an interesting strategy considering, again, their massive amounts of debt. But hey, Paramount wants to keep James Gunn, which is no surprise since Warner Brothers reiterated post-acquisition how much they value Superman. But John Campea, industry analyst and expert, made shockwaves by saying he believes there is a 100% chance that James Gunn resigns before the deal even finalizes. He prefaced it by saying he has zero insider information in that statement, but it is surprising because I've been watching him for many years and I've never heard him say anything with 100% certainty, but again, without insider information. So it's all very interesting and all fluid. Warner Brothers Discovery reiterated success for Superman in a post-acquisition statement. To quote, Warner Brothers delivered a powerhouse slate last year with Superman, Minecraft, and Sinners. One thing many fans tend to forget or may not have the knowledge of is lying to shareholders is a crime. Not only is lying to shareholders a crime, but even manipulating the truth is illegal in this realm. I have yet to hear anyone articulate why those who run Warner Brothers Discovery would risk their freedom and financials to defend James Gunn's Superman movie. This is not a movie meant to bring on philosophical change or cultural change. It's just a superhero movie. They have no reason to lie and risk everything to their shareholders. Of course, the future of the DC Universe might be a bit more expansive than we originally thought. Zack Snyder this week discussed the possibility of Justice League 2 and Justice League 3 happening by announcing there are active talks with the studios. But that is a topic for another video. So far, there are no plans to sell or spin off any of the entities. This includes the news networks, sports channels, and everything else. Like the video if you learned something and subscribe for more.